But between now and then, we have some performances to happen.
That's right.
With a huge round of applause, please welcome to the stage the Mourning Wood.
Woo!
Hello again, everyone. So yeah, I was just out here just about an hour ago. So this is my Mourning Wood. That is spelled with a U. It's a very sad ukulele. I do tend to play sadder music. Let's see if we can find a good spot for that. Right there. And the last show that I was just in was, of course, just me doing stand-up, Aiden in a kilt. Love wearing my kilt. And that kind of has to do with this first song that I'm going to play. This first song was taught to me by my grandfather when I was a really little kid. I apologize, it's not in English. And growing up, I didn't know what the words meant. After my grandfather died recently, I asked my grandma what this song was about. And she told me that where my grandfather came from, growing up, they weren't allowed to dance. Like, dancing was illegal there. Like, they had to hide that they were dancing, otherwise they could get in a lot of trouble. So she says that the opening of this song, the first verse, talks about that in order to be able to dance, you have to have a lot of finesse and a lot of grace. Now, the second verse, it moves on and it talks about their journey here to America. And that while they were coming over, they were actually very prosperous. They weren't just some sailor. They became my grandfather became the captain of this ship. So I'm going to go ahead and play this song for you. And it comes from right here. Para bailar la bamba, para bailar la bamba, si necesito una poca de gracia, una poca de gracia por mi para ti, ay arriba y arriba, ay arriba y arriba, por ti seré, por ti seré, por ti seré. Yo no soy marinero, yo no soy marinero, soy capitán, soy capitán, soy capitán. Bamba, 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 bamba. Para bailar la bamba. Thank you. Let's see if we can get this in a better spot there, so I'm not leaning over so much. All right, this next song is one that I wrote. So I'm going to be going back and forth between some covers, some parodies, and some original music. This one here is one that I wrote about growing up, and really, it's about my sex life, so. Make sure this is the right key first. I've never done this before. No, that's not right. Let's try it again. Okay. I've never done this before. No, I've never done this before. Though I like to brag, it laments me to say that I've never done this before. My first love's name, it is Molly. Her hair, curly brown locks. She had the face of an angel, yes, a reputation for having been round the block. She took me back to her place, it's there she made me a man. I can say it was amazing, I don't believe she was a fan. 'Cause I've never done this before, no, I've never done this before. Though I like to brag, it laments me to say that I've never done this before. My second love's name, it escapes me. Her hair long silvery white. She has the oldest profession, yes, she was a lady of the night. I took her back to my hotel, it's there the fun wouldn't stop. But then she pulled out her handcuffs, apparently she was a cop. 'Cause I've never done this before, no, I've never done this before. Though I like to brag, it laments me to say that I've never done this before. My third love's name's unimportant, his head a shiny bald paint. His skin was covered in tattoos, written there were symbols of hate. He dragged me back to his cell block, made love to me there on the bench. He said he had a suggestion that I probably shouldn't clench. 'Cause I've never done this before, no, I've never done this before. Though I like to brag, it laments me to say that I've never done this before. My last love's name is Dear Mistress, her hair stark raven black. She had a bounty of play toys, chains to bind and whips to crack. She took me down to her dungeon, it's there the fun wouldn't stop. Shit. Let's try that again. She took me down to her dungeon, it's there that she went to work. The pain was something exquisite, our safe word we agreed was banana. 'Cause I've never done this before, no, I've never done this before. Though I like to brag, it laments me to say that I've never done this before. And I've never done this before, no, I've never done this before. Though I like to brag, it laments me to say that I've never done this before. All right, thank you. Gonna switch instruments here. This one I promise I do know the key of. Now, my fiance isn't here tonight. She's absolutely amazing. She is a go-go dancer and a model. There's no joke to go along with that. I just really like to brag. This song is... This song is about how when she comes home late Friday, Saturday nights, she tends to be a little sloshed. And I find it really endearing. So this song I wrote for her. Stumbling in through the door after a night with the girls, fresh puke on your shoe, cheap whiskey on your breath. You're so adorable when you are drunk. I'll be there for you when you get home. You're so drunk you can't decide. Do you want White Castle or sex? So you just lay on the floor, pray to the throne of pearl. You're so adorable when you are are drunk. I'll hold your hair for you when you blow chunks. You got undressed in the cab. You said your dress was too tight. You couldn't wait to get home, to go into mermaid mode. All right, let me stop real quick and tell you guys what mermaid mode is. So mermaid mode is when my fiance is so drunk that she strips down to everything except for her panties, and she gets in a lukewarm bathtub, and she lays there for about 3 hours. It's kind of scary, but cute at the same time. You're so adorable when you get drunk. I'll be there for you when you get home. You're so adorable when you are drunk. I'll hold your hair for you when you blow chunks. Thank you. All right, since in that song I talked about mermaid mode for a little bit, I'm going to do a cover here. This is a song that I heard last year right before I started working out at the Renaissance Festival. And I wanted to learn this song specifically so that I could go down to Mermaid Cove and play it for them just to piss them off. When I was a lad in a fishing town, me old man said to me, you can spend your life, your jolly life, just sailing on the sea. You could search the world for pretty girls till your eyes are weak and dim. But don't go searching for a mermaid, son, if you don't know how to swim. 'Cause her hair was green as seaweed, her skin was blue and pale. Her face, it was a work of art. I loved that girl with all my heart. I only liked the upper part, I did not like the tail. I signed on to a sailing ship, my very first day at sea. I saw the mermaid in the wave a-reaching out to me. Come live with me in the sea, said she, down in the ocean floor. I'll show you a million wondrous things you never seen before. So over I jump and she pulled me down to her seaweed bed, where a pillow made of a tortoise shell she placed beneath my head. She fed me shrimp and caviar upon a silver dish. From her head to her waist it was just my taste, but the rest of her was a fish. 'Cause her hair was green as seaweed, her skin was blue and pale. Her face, it was a work of art. I loved that girl with all my heart. I only liked the upper part, I did not like the tail. Then one day she swam away, so I sang to the clams and the whales. Oh, how I missed her seaweed hair and the silver shine of her scales. But then her sister, she walked by, set my heart a-whirl. 'Cause her upper part was an ugly fish, and her bottom part was a girl. Yes, her hair was green as seaweed, her skin was blue and pale. Her legs, they are a work of art. I love that girl with all my heart, and I don't give a damn about the upper part, 'cause that's how I get my tail. Thank you. That song was originally by Great Big Sea. If they happen to be listening to that, I don't have money to pay you the rights to sing that. Sorry. Exactly, exposure. That's how we're all paid, right? All right. This next song. This one's a very sad song because it's a reminder every day of this shitstorm that we're living in. And ever since last November, really, and it's been absolutely horrible. Shit, it's actually been more than a year. Fuck. Let's go ahead and start this song then. For all the times that you tried to get laid, but all the contestants, they were underage. She was your daughter, oh for goodness sake. Why would you claim that she'd be fun to bang? And I didn't want to write a song, 'cause I didn't think you'd last this long, but you're still fucking POTUS. And maybe I should just move on. But there's something I think you should know, but I'm not gonna hold back. My uncle's a rapist and he voted for you. So did all the rednecks that went to my high school. You promised them jobs and that you would drain the swamp, but instead you just played a round of golf. So if you think you're making America great again, you can go and fuck yourself. And if you think you're getting a second term, you can go and fuck yourself. You get your headlines from Fox and Friends, political advice from Vladimir Putin. You said the Statue of Liberty was wrong when you told the Muslims to go back where they came from. And I didn't want to write a song, 'cause I really didn't think you'd last this fucking long, but you're still fucking POTUS. And maybe I should just move on. There's something you should know that I'm not gonna hold back. My cousins are racist and they voted for you. So did all the white hoods who don't believe the Jews. You promised them jobs and that you would drain the swamp, but instead you just tweeted from your phone. So if you think you're making America great again, you can go and fuck yourself. And if you think you're getting another term, you can go and fuck yourself. You can go and fuck yourself, Trump. Just saying. All right, I got one last song that I'm going to be playing for you guys. And it's actually a song that I did earlier today. If any of you were here for May the Farce Be With You, this is a song, obviously, about Star Wars. The last time I was watching the Star Wars movie, I noticed something that was really troubling. All of the men in the Star Wars universe are pretty shitty people. They're not really people that you can look up to. And so I wrote this song about that. Really, this song is more about the women of Star Wars and how awesome they are. Han Solo is a douchebag and Boba Fett is useless. Poe Dameron is misogynist. Anakin is whiny and he's self-centered. Somehow his grandson's worse. All the men in Star Wars are problematic people. None of them are good role models. Even Finn is a traitor and Luke is a quitter. Luckily Star Wars has badass girls. Yes, luckily Star Wars has badass girls. When Padme was 16, she was already the queen, making war with the droids, getting stuck on Tatooine. She made peace with the Gungans and joined the Galactic Senate until Jar Jar he gave the power to Palpatine. When she isn't bringing the galaxy class, she's kicking separatist. Luckily Star Wars has badass girls. Yes, luckily Star Wars has badass girls. Because Han Solo's a douchebag and Boba Fett is useless. Poe Dameron is misogynist. Anakin is whiny and he's self-centered. Somehow his grandson's worse. All the men in Star Wars are problematic people. None of them are good role models. Even Finn is a traitor and Luke is a quitter. Luckily Star Wars has badass girls. Yes, luckily Star Wars has badass girls. Princess Leia was a rebel before she was a general. She looked Moff Tarkin in the eye as he blew Alderaan to rubble. She fought at Etz Hoth, which pissed the Empire off, and she didn't shed a tear when Han was frozen to marble. All right, I know it wasn't actually marble, it was carbonite, but carbonite doesn't rhyme, so yeah. And she killed Jabba the Hutt when he dressed her like a... Luckily Star Wars has badass girls. Yes, luckily Star Wars has badass girls. Because Han Solo's a douchebag and Boba Fett is useless. Poe Dameron is misogynist. Anakin is whiny and he's self-centered. Somehow his grandson's worse. All the men in Star Wars are problematic people. None of them are good role models. Even Finn is a traitor and Luke is a quitter. Luckily Star Wars has badass girls. Yes, luckily Star Wars has badass girls. The new girl's name is Rey, and she's here to save the day. She scavenged on Jakku so that she could earn her pay. Now she flies the Falcon with Chewie at her side. With some old stolen books, she will become a Jedi. Oh yeah, don't forget this, she made Kylo Ren her. Luckily Star Wars has badass girls. Yes, luckily Star Wars has badass girls. Because Han Solo's a douchebag and Boba Fett is useless. Poe Dameron is misogynist. Anakin is whiny and he's self-centered. Somehow his grandson's worse. All the men in Star Wars are problematic people. None of them are good role models. Even Finn is a traitor and Luke is a quitter. Luckily Star Wars has badass girls. Yes, luckily Star Wars has badass girls. All right. All right, so it looks like my time is just about up. Thank you guys for having me out. Have a great rest of your weekend.